Hey, this is Zeke the Defender, and I'm going to be showing you a little bit of how to use Voxel Sculpt and AGF. It's a DLC, so if you don't have it, go check it out in the Steam store. It'll show up here, Voxel Sculpt, Editor and Generator. It's also down here. You'll get your options here, and you can even go back and forth in the warehouse there. So let's see, first I'll go to the editor, and you've got your add, your subtract, and your subtract paint, which can be used to make caves of a different wall type. It'll override any walls with the new selected type. Then there's the cube or the sphere toggle. There's the undo. And the redo. And the select terrain texture, which I believe just cycles through your terrains. Soft and hard edges. You can see it got a lot pointier here. Otherwise it'll normally be kind of rounded. Then there's replace. Which will kind of do the same thing as the subtract replace. Ignore, so say you want to just let's see, turn off the replace, and ignore is on, so you can paint a bunch of voxels through these voxels. This is kind of good for, say you just want flatness, a bunch of flat. So if I turned it off, sometimes it would create hills. Click to edit. That means you have to click once every time you edit. This is good just for making sure that it doesn't create too much. So, a bit more precision. Rather, if I have it off, what if I accidentally created two like that? Then you'd have to go and try to delete it all. Use base of brush. That just makes it so, see, my brush is up like that. Otherwise, my brush would be halfway into the whatever I'm painting voxels onto. That can be useful, say you want a sphere like that instead of just a little mound. The generator, I'll get to that later. If you want to snap voxels to the grid, you can turn this on. That way you can pretty much make voxels next to each other. And the grid will, of course, change depending on the size of your voxel brush size. So over here, there's the next and previous button. Add and delete. You can change. Specular color. How shiny that is. Some of these effects you might want to watch out for. It changes and then it has to refresh all the voxels, so it might lag up a little bit. So then there's the ambience. You can see as I put the shininess, it's still there, it's just less all over. Ambience will make it brighter. Tiling changes the textures so that you can see right there, there's a lot more. Number of textures, you can set it to 1 if you want. Say if you want the top and the sides to be exactly the same. Otherwise 2, if you decide to keep it at 2, you can just select the same texture for the top and the sides. Smoothing. It's kind of the same as the soft hard edges. Alright, sometimes you'll have extra chunk textures. It's kind of weird. So let's say I add a few voxels, and then have a bunch of different textures. Since our shader for the voxels only supports, I believe, up to 4 textures, you can only have 4 textures in a little area. So sometimes you'll get a bunch that overlap. I'll show you what I mean in a couple seconds, like this. So right now I'm using this dark gray, or dark brown, light brown, blue and teal, and the grass. So I'm going to remove the teal and close it. This pretty much makes it so that, say if you save and load your file, it won't accidentally change that to teal or that to blue or something like that. Because like I said, you can only have 4 textures in a small area, mostly because of our shader that we're oops. Remove that, don't show. So auto clean just makes it so that I can change and not have to worry about it. Alright, going down here, there's the vegetation. I just turned it off here, but I can also turn it off on these other voxels here. Turn it back on. Careful not to double click it sometimes because it will have to refresh all the voxels to remove them. So it might take a little while. Change the color. You can change it to, whatever you want. Ambient color. Animation strength, watch them move. And then I can change type of texture that's being used with the grass. This is kind of the same as the regular terrain texturing. Alright, so now I'll show you how to generate the new terrain. There's a check mark here. It will, if I keep it unchecked, it will only generate around everything I've made. So let me just generate that. I'll pause the video while it's generating. Alright, it takes a little while, so I'll pause it each time it generates. But you can see that it created a bunch of terrain around what I had created here. So say you don't want any of that to be deleted. Just keep this box unchecked. Otherwise, if you just want an entirely new terrain, check it. Seed, change that, and it'll generate it different. So say you use 5 and keep it at these default settings, you'll get exactly what you see here. Then there's a few different types here: level, noise, valley, terrace, plateau, erosion. So level, that's pretty much how tall everything's going to be. So right now this was at 1, so if I regenerate it at 10, I'll show you what it looks like. And as you can see, it got a bit taller. So there's a lot of stuff here. The noise, I'll edit some of them, and then I'll show you what I come up with. And here's what I came up with. All I did was change fractals from 10 to 20, and you can see it looks a lot different now. At least in regards to, where mountains and stuff are. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff here. It would take a while to go through it all, so I'd say just go through, test out what looks good and stuff. And one thing I do want to kind of show you, I'll deactivate all of these. See, there's the follow terrain feature here. So say I've got my terrain. Something like that. And then I can generate. And then you can see after generating, that is all that's really left here is the hump caused by me having some terrain like that. That way, so say you create an entire level just with the built-in terrain, and you want to change it to voxels for whatever reason you want, then you can just do level, probably change level down to 1 or 0, and then activate follow terrain. If you're just testing out with different kind of generation techniques, I'd say go to the terrain, and then you can change the terrain size down so that it's really small. Just remember that'll mess up your current terrain settings. So whatever you do with this isn't going to be saved. But say I'll generate, it really makes it a lot faster because it's only generating for this small area. So I can activate noise, and it generates really quick. Otherwise, back there it was taking me about a minute per generation. I can even activate all this, and it'll really only take a few seconds. So yeah, there's a lot to do with the generator. Otherwise, hopefully what I showed you with all of this helps you out a little bit. If you have any further questions, just let me know, and I will hope to help you out. Thanks. Bye.